Hello everybody. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an insight into detailing. Now, detailing is quite a large word that people tend to use in modelling, and it can go as little or as much basically as you want to spend. So detailing in modelling comes down to how much do you want to spend on extras. And what I mean by extras is screws, nut heads. You know, if you read around modelling, you can see detail pages on a lot of websites where you can buy screw heads, just screw heads on nuts or rivets, um, and these cost money, and some of them are extremely expensive. The smaller you go, the more expensive they are, and there is not very many manufacturers that's around. And even on a bike like Model Factory Hero, sort of costing, the kit itself is quite expensive. It's trying to show how far you can go if you want to do. And what I mean is basically on screw heads. There's quite a few on this bike, um, and I will try and show you the difference. Um, for the equipment I've got, it's going to be quite tricky. Now, the normal screw heads that you would get with Model Factory Hero, get these in focus for you, is these. So these are white metal screw heads. So basically all they're a cast rib, basic cast piece with a round and a slotted to look like just a normal slotted screw. And these are what you use, or you should have used, to go around the edge of the crankcase. To go around here and in here. Mainly around here you can see them. Well, you can't see them because I haven't put them in. But what I've used is a long time ago. I think this company's actually since gone bust, so I'm probably showing you something I shouldn't really show you really because you'll probably struggle to find them. It's a company called Nest, Adler's Nest, I should say. And what these are is, so I'm trying to get that in focus. There we go. It's basically a machined. How they do this, I don't know. So if anybody has any clue how to make something like this small, don't even ask me because I don't know. But basically, it's a turned. I don't know whether it's stainless or steel or whatever. I think it must be some sort of stainless because it's extremely bright. They turn it down to whatever size head. I keep my hand still. Turn it down to whatever size head that you're wanting. These are 0.8 of a mil, and they put a little slot in it so it looks like a crosshead screw. The big difference is how they look. These tend to look, the Model Factory Hero ones tend to look, obviously, they look okay, you know. They're a detail part that you would not get normally separately in the back, and any extra detail that they do separately is good, but they don't look like that. They're quite a high chrome, and I think at the minute you get on these, you get about 20 in a bag, if you can find any, because I've looked all over and I can't find any more. I've run out now from what I've had with these. These are just a few I've had left. Um, and they're about 20 quid. They're looking around about 15 to 20 quid a packet. So you're looking at £1 each for these. This is why I said on detail and how much you want to spend. But the difference is it makes the model, I don't know the word is, pop, I suppose, with detail. You know, you can't beat the way it looks. The aluminium ones look okay. These ones look okay, but they don't look as good as them. In my eyes, anyway. Modellings are obviously very limited what people want to get out of it. And to me, it stands out a lot more. And it's the tiny detail that you tend to notice. I've found people will comment on when they've looked at my models on things that don't really mean anything on their own, but on the whole, they make the bike necessarily stand out. A detail on the engine makes a big difference. So if you can see screw heads around the crankcase or around a cover, a clutch cover or whatever, people will tend to notice that if they can see it. That is, you do need good eyesight. I mean, these are 1/9 scale, so it's not too bad. But obviously, detailing will go down to 1/12 scale. Some of the stuff they make for the 1/12 scale bikes now is fantastic. They're doing machine forks, and they're doing braided hoses and calipers and all the rest of it, even for down to 1/12 scale. And a lot of it, if you haven't got very good eyes, you don't even know it's there. But it is something that you can fit to models, to try and make them look like an original bike. And I'm not knocking Model Factory Hero. These what the Model Factory Hero are an extra detail when you put them in. They do look okay. The problem is because they're aluminium or a white metal, it just doesn't pop as much as what a stainless screw head would do. That's the difference. It's just that extra little bit of pop. You can, people try and paint these or whatever to try and make them. You could try and, say alclad them in bits and pieces, which would make them stand out anymore. But you can't beat using one of them, and it's very difficult to come over on camera on the detail side because it is quite small. I'll just try and give you an idea. If you look at these around the edges, it distinguishes the edges, and when you get the engine on the side, it just pops. That just makes the crankcase look real. As much as I can try and explain, it just looks like the real bike, and that's what I try and aim for. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't always look any different to what you would necessarily get in the kit, but I do try. And the thing is, with a model, if you do small amounts of detail, as much as you possibly can in areas, as your modelling grows, when you finish the model, if you've done small areas of little bits together, it makes the bike or whatever you're building that little bit better. And if you continue to do that for every model you do, so what you've learned on one model you do to the next model, that's what makes a difference. And that's not just buying accessory parts. It can be the way you paint something, whether you chrome foil something, or whether you just paint it. You might have just painted something before, but you think I'll have a go at chrome foil this time. I'll get some chrome foil, and it makes it stand out. So when it looks good, you use that process again. So detailing is, one, how much you want to spend, because things cost money, like going back to the screws. Two, how much time do you want to spend on it? Putting these rivets in took me probably 5 or 6 hours. I'm not the fastest modeler, but each one has to be drilled out, and I didn't do a video on that because you would probably have all fell asleep. And they're quite a taxing time. They're quite tiny because you have to cut these off. As you can see, that's something that small. You have to cut the excess off. You drill a hole for the shank because it's only the head that you're going to see. Drill a hole and then basically tweezer them in to the hole, and then a tiny amount of super glue. And I'm not going to argue, I've swore quite a bit because they've either popped out the tweezers or they haven't got in the hole right or whatever. So there can be a testing thing to put in, and modelling. And I know obviously there's a lot of videos online showing somebody how to paint things. Some people are very good at it, but I tend to struggle at that. I tend to try and show you the end result, and then tell you how I did it, but which is not maybe all the way I want to try and come across in modelling. But sometimes it's extremely difficult to try and get everything in focus and concentrate on trying to put these things in. But anyway, I'll try and give you as much background information of the way I do these things as I can. But it doesn't always come across on film very well. So if you're moaning that it's not coming across very well, I'm sorry, but it's extremely difficult sometimes to get this in video format. But anyway, going back to the detailing, it just gives you that little bit of, say, a little bit of extra pop. So I thought I'd just go in insight into detailing, and that just goes from not only the screw heads, the pipe work and bits and pieces. You can use loads of things for pipe work, and I'll try and cover a little bit of pipe work when I get doing some of the pipe work on it, as well as brake lines and brake linkages and bits and pieces, what you can do. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of video in it, and I hope it helps. If you can spend a little bit of money on stuff, it does go a long way. So with that, I'll catch you in the next video.